Okay, we are streaming.
Okay, so at this point, I will turn it over to Carlos, the chair for the Finance Committee.
Carlos, are you there?
Carlos says that he's trying to log in now.
I'm here. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
And we can.
My apologies. My flight got delayed, and so I'm just getting in the rental car and what have you. So apologize about that. And thus, I'm not with my computer to put the budget up on the screen. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to accommodate. Let me.
I can share the drafts that that you and I discussed.
Okay, that should be good.
Okay, let me dig back to this. So it would have been the preliminary budget.
May I just comment that in this age of technology, both in transportation and in meeting, things are very complicated.
Yes, it is, and I'm not the one who knows how to use his iPhone as efficiently as other people. So
We'll get there.
yeah, the downside of always having an assistant. But let's see. I'm also trying to log into my computer. So I sit here as well. Maybe I can get on the internet. But all in all, just for the board's knowledge, Bill presented a new board that he and I went through in detail for the school year 23-24, which looks good to me, and I think is an approvable format. The key highlights, and without giving, I don't have the exact figures, but the budget is balanced, and that we budgeted specifically the key things on revenues and expenses. Key thing for next year's school budget is the budget entails not only getting the standard grants that Ms. Bryant was so diligent would lead those efforts, but there's also about $550,000 of corporate and private donations that's incorporated into the budget. You know, Erica, I'm gonna assume I feel that's doable. As in times past, you generally be a part of that conversation, and so the thoughts are there that you feel that is a doable budget goal to hit. You're on mute, Erica.
Yes, I am. Okay.
Okay.
What I was saying is that there are years when we bring in more than that. There are years when we have brought in less than that, but it sounds like a fair average. And this
Okay.
would be private, in grants, private grants, also grants that come from unexpected opportunities with federal government grants or local grants. So the combination of all of those, I am pretty confident that we can reach that mark.
Okay.
We've exceeded it in the last few years.
So, and then we also, the budget incorporates the key items with staff changes, including Erica's time for the next 6 months for the ED transition, as well as budget for after that period in a role to, I guess we're calling it development officer of some sort to help with the capital raising and what have you. I don't know what the exact title is, but that
That's close
that
enough.
yeah, that component as well. And so, you know, as presented, I think it is definitely an approvable budget that the board could vote on. And Ton, I don't know if you're able to show it. I'm trying to log in.
I have like,
Yeah.
I had the previous draft versions, but not the one that you and I ended up.
I do apologize to you. So just bear with me. Any big picture questions before, while I try to get things up open here? None.
I mean, I guess, hey, Carlos, it's Adina. So you said that it's balanced. You know, you gave the estimated amount for private funding and then the addition of a position in the development officer. Are there any other kind of overarching, you know, glaring changes from previous years that we should know about?
No, not glaring changes. I mean, we all have been discussing just the staff changes. And I think they pretty much have those covered, you know. And even for people that have been identified and need to be hired. So I think it's you know, I think nothing glaring.
And I guess, and maybe this question is for Erica, just given the conversations that we've had recently, and that I know schools across the country are having about, what is the term I'm looking for? You know, learning loss as a result of the pandemic. Are there any additional funds in this year's budget compared to previous years that we need to consider to try to support efforts to, you know, help scholars in the coming years to get back up to speed?
So is your question whether we have identified additional funds to help support recapturing, I don't want to say accelerated learning because people are moving away from that term, but have we identified funding for that? Is that included in the budget, or are you asking if we're seeking additional funding for that?
Probably more B. So not identified, but whether or not it's present or acknowledged in the budget.
So there are a couple of grants that we've applied for recently to support. One in particular was for reading strategies. And so that hasn't been included in the budget because it wasn't approved yet. I'm trying to think of anything else. We do have, you know, personnel, for example, a reading specialist, a learning specialist who will focus on reading and supporting reading with students in need. We have identified various tutoring aids, whether it's one-on-one tutoring or group tutoring, that's included in the budget as personnel expenses. There's different software that we have used over the course of the last couple of years to help get students back on track. And I'm thinking particularly right now about math acceleration, and that is included in the
Mhm.
budget. But every year, there are resources that become available throughout the school year, either through the Office of the State Superintendent of Education to support us with, academic, to assist schools with academic support, or from private foundations or other charter support organizations make funds available throughout the year that we have and will continue to apply for. So I am not sure if I'm answering your question, but I guess the bottom line is that there are strategies and personnel that have been identified to support students in learning. In addition to teachers and learning specialists, there are other strategies, and we will continue to, anytime that we learn of any kind of funding or grant that's available, we will continue to apply.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that answers my question. I just wanted to it seems to me like that element is what's different from, I don't know, previous years,
Yeah.
not including the last school year, but just, making sure that there is money earmarked to provide those
Mhm.
additional services needed. So thank you.
You're welcome. The other thing that I was going to add is that I think within the last couple of board meetings, there was mention of potential additional funding in the mayor's budget for 2024 for schools, specifically for teacher salaries. And those funds have been approved by city council. And so that will be an additional source of funding for us as well for this coming school year.
Thank you.
Mhm.
For Stokes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Bob. What? Is it good? You can answer that.
It's delicious.
Oh,
Heather, I think you're.
I'm gonna.
do we have any additional information on the budget with regards to the Stokes kitchen? Are we going to continue to operate sort of at a similar level, or going back to pre-pandemic levels, or do we have a general sense of the plan for that?
Stokes Kitchen will support both campuses. Next year, both campuses will consist of a little over 700 students, and anywhere from 100 to 150 full and part-time staff. And so that is all that they can handle right now. So we won't be taking on additional schools next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the budget line item will remain similar to this year?
It will
Okay.
remain very similar, except that we will have additional mouths to feed because we'll have one more class that's added. So we'll have our student enrollment count will be higher. So the expenses will be higher, but the reimbursements will also be higher.
And I guess similar to the pre-pandemic, we had, I think, extra expenses related to summer school and summer programming. This year, still no summer programming. Is that going to change in the next school year?
That is their goal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
Wait, I'm sorry, to the summer programming question that Amy just asked. There is, so that also includes that there over the summer, like there's no programming to support academic needs. Is that right?
Not exactly. There actually will be some summer program for specific students. It's extended year services for certain students, and that will happen at the Brooklyn campus. But the summer programs, as in the programs that we ran pre-pandemic, that will not be happening this summer, but the goal is for programming to restart next summer, hopefully at both campuses.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, so are you all able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for bearing with me. So here's the budget, and so next year's budget includes a total enrollment of 719 students, which is up from this year's school year, the 22-23 school year, of 673. And that's about a 7% increase in enrollment. And so the funding per pupil funding is following that new enrollment. And so as Bill explained it, that sounded very apropos to me. And so that's about in 15 million, 15.7 million. And then here below, as I scroll down, the grants, total government funds, grants primarily of 639,460. Here's the section of 550,000 for private grants and donations, 400 there, 550,000 from individuals, and corporate contributions of $100,000. And then the activity fees is, Erica, correct me, Bill explained, this was 125,000 that from the after school program, and he formulated that based upon the 7% increase in enrollment. And so just is, I'm sorry, no, that was here.
Hey, Carlos, why did it go from 50,000 to 125?
He's increasing it by the enrollment percentage.
Hmm.
And as well as the after school. I definitely know the after school. Erica, am I correct that this also increased?
You're on mute.
Yes, sorry. Are you asking if the number of students in after school increased? Yes. And
The activity fees is paralleling that increase.
So what we're looking at here is the forecast. That 50,000 was a forecast for 23-22. I would be curious to know what the actual revenue is, because I suspect it's higher than that.
Okay. But you feel that 125 is a good number, should work.
We have collected more than that in after school. After school is
Well,
historically generates income.
Right.
Yeah.
I was incorrect. The after school is line 42, and that's $749,000. The 125 of activity fees, I also thought was paralleling this enrollment.
I think what I think that is, Carlos, is funding for a study tour. Because
Okay.
we typically typically budget about 50,000 for the study tour. But next, that is the trip that our fifth graders take to Panama and Martinique. Next year, there will be 2 fifth grade classes taking that trip. So I believe that that figure represents a doubling of expenses plus probably, expenses for chaperones and so forth.
2 meaning for both campuses.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Each campus will, because we are adding fifth grade
Mhm.
to East End next year, both campuses will have fifth grade classes that travel on study tour.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. I got it now.
And so that brings us to a total forecasted income of $18 million. And then once we get into the expenses, of course, the top expense for the school is salaries overall, and we went through the details of that. And with all of the staff changes and the budgeting, I felt that per the detail analysis, they adequately have budgeted for that. And then all the other expenses that the school generally incurs. And so if you look at in total, and as well, we talked about the mortgage. Bill took a pretty good conservative approach on the East End mortgage approach, which I still believe we have the upper hand in this situation. So nonetheless, we're tracking right now. Oh, as well as we did budget it for a consultant of about $60,000 to help with the executive director search. And so that's included in here. And so right now we're tracking a $30,000 surplus, which in my mind is a break even. And then depending on, there's some conservative nature in the budget. So if things outperform on the revenue, or we don't have as many expenses as conservatively budget, this number could potentially go up. Or we could just break even holistically. But right now we're tracking almost a $31,000 surplus for next school year. Any questions?
I think Erica explained earlier about the Stokes kitchen. So this year we were able to take on clients, and so we had revenue of like 150,000 plus. But next year we would not be taking on clients because we're taking on the additional students at the East End campus. So
Ne-
that's why that preliminary budget is listed as 0. Is that correct?
So we did not have clients outside of the school this year. And we won't have clients outside for meal service outside of the school next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think that entertainment and meals line item refers to school meals. I think that's somewhere else in the budget.
The Stokes Kitchen expenses right here, line 145, and that's showing 0.
Oh, so we had a thought we were going to start taking clients, but we didn't actually take clients this school year, and next year we will continue the same. No additional clients. Okay.
No
No.
additional clients.
Yeah, in this school year, I'm sorry if I should have backed up. This school year, we're breaking even, $1,000 surplus.
And again, I
Yeah,
see,
you pointed-
I think the emphasis there is that, given our facilities, when we took clients, we had very few, when we took outside clients, we had very few students at East End. And we will have almost as many or as many students at East End next year as we do at Brooklyn. And just the physical capacity of the kitchen will not allow us to take on additional clients, food
Okay.
service clients.
We'll actually have more students at East End than Brooklyn next year. But yes, when we catered out food service for other schools in the past, I don't think that the total number of meals that we prepped would be equivalent to the number of meals that will be prepped next year between the 700 plus students and staff, 100 and 150. That total is more than when we used to serve other schools, because Brooklyn has an enrollment of 350 students. So we had a couple of other schools with lower enrollments. We just, there's not the internal capacity to handle all of Stokes school students and staff plus other schools.
More questions?
Additional discussion?
So with questions, I would like to, as chair, treasurer, chair of the finance committee and treasurer, I do recommend that the school year 23-24 budget be approved as presented this evening.
Is there a motion to approve the 24-23 budget as presented by Carlos?
So moved.
Is there a second?
There's a second. This is Amy.
I have a motion.
Who made the motion?
Erica McGrady.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve the 24-23 budget. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion to approve the budget through a roll vote, I will call out. Okay, try this way. All right, Amy,
Aye.
Erica,
Aye.
Carlos,
Aye.
Beatrice,
Aye.
Tracy, Kira,
Aye.
Adina,
Aye.
Heather,
Aye.
and Anton, aye. The motion passes. We have a budget approved for 24-23. Great. Okay. So now we're going to go back into closed session. So I need to go back through. All right. Once again. The next agenda item is to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance, evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B10, and to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B4A. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I motion to enter executive session.
Is there a second?
I second.
I have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, enter executive session. Once again, a roll vote. So Heather,
Aye.
Dina,
Aye.
Kira,
Aye.
Tracy. Beatrice,
Aye.
Carlos,
Aye.
Erica,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
and Anton, aye. The motion passes and we will now go into executive session.